The Muslims, Americans, and others could use the analysis of the following insights and facts concerning the crimes of the 9/11 as follows. Get the video clip of the alleged aircrafts crashing into the Twin Towers and play the clip very slowly, one frame at a time, and in reverse too. Start with the second alleged aircraft. You shall find that the aircraft disappears in sections and not by crashing and impacting and entering the building. The wings of the aircraft disappears supposedly by entering the building. Stop the video right after the wings disappear. You shall see that the wings disappear without even leaving any damage to the building or causing any damage to the wings or the engines. Resume playing the video, and when just the whole aircraft disappears supposedly inside the building, stop the video right there. You shall also see that there is no damage whatsoever to the building. Resume playing the video and stop the video right before the alleged explosion. Let's call this point of the video point A. Look, examine, think, and ask, where is the aircraft? And where is the damage to the building as a direct result of the alleged aircrafts crashing and impacting into the building? You don't see any aircraft body parts flying or falling to the ground. What you see is as if the building was a gigantic vacuum machine that sucked the entire aircraft inside the building. That's impossible. How many possibilities are there? Possibility A. Either the mainly hollow aluminum alloy airframe body of the aircraft and its wings and engines cut off the gigantic outer I-beams steel pillars of the frame of the mountain of steel building that supports thousands of tons of the weight of the mountain of steel building. Could that be possible? If it is, then the building must have bent and fell sideways toward the impact side of the unbalanced support of the building as a direct result of the cutting and damaging the outer steel frames pillars of the building and of the force of the impact of the aircraft on the side of the building. However, the building did not bend sideways and fall, because as a fact of physics, the aluminum alloy hollow airframe of the aircraft and its wings and engines cannot cut the gigantic outer I-beam made in Japan steel frames pillars of the mountain of a steel building. Did the mainly light aluminum aircraft body cut the gigantic outer I-beam steel pillars of the frame of the mountain of a steel building? Possibility B. What about the inner I-beams steel pillars or the core of the frame of the mountain of steel building's support pillars? The inner pillars are bigger and stronger than the outer pillars, if not the same. How could the hollow, mainly light aluminum aircraft body's impact also cut through the inner core of the mountain of a steel building when it lost most, if not all, its kinetic energy after it impacted and allegedly cut the outer I-beams pillars? This scenario is impossible too. Then what did the mainly hollow light aluminum alloy aircraft do to the mountain of a steel building and its steel frames outer and inner pillars? Or the gigantic steel frames pillars of the mountain of a steel building acted as blades and shred the entire aircraft's airframe, body, wings, and engines into pieces as it impacted at the steel frames pillars of the building. But that's impossible too, because we neither saw any part of the aircraft falling down after its impact with the mountain of a steel building, nor we saw any of the victims' human body parts falling down from the impact point. Did one paper passport of one of the alleged hijackers fell down, flew off of as a direct result of the aircraft's impact, and landed in front of the feet of an FBI agent while he was standing down, waiting for the aircraft to crash into the building and raising his hands into God to hand him the silver bullet proof of the criminals behind the 9/11? Furthermore, the I-beams steel pillars of the mountain of steel buildings are too wide to act as blades and shred the aircraft into slices. Then what happened to the aircraft? Now we have a big problem with subparagraphs A, B, and C above. Do you remember the miracle in the Hudson River? Do you remember that one of the engines sheared off and broke from the aircraft's wing on impact against the water of the Hudson River? Do you think that the water of the Hudson River is stronger or more solid than the I-beams steel frame pillars of the Twin Towers? Do I have to remind you that the I-beams steel frame pillars are stronger and more solid than the water of the Hudson River? If yes, then I have just reminded you. If no, then why none of the engines sheared off the wings of the 9/11 alleged aircraft when they impacted into the gigantic I-beams of the steel frame of the Twin Towers and fell down on the ground? The aircraft wings contain the fuel tanks, among other things. Why on impact the fuel tanks did not rupture as they should have been and splash the fuel on the side of the Twin Towers and cause huge fireballs rolling down the side of the Twin Towers? Why we did not even see any fire on the side of the building as a result of the rupture of the wings fuel tanks, or from the fuel tank in the center of the fuselage, the center of the aircraft body? A. For your information, the Boeing 767 maximum takeoff weight is about 450,000 pounds of the actual weight of the aircraft, fully loaded with the fuel and with the maximum number of passengers aboard with their allowed weight of luggage and members of the cockpit and cabin crews. We are told that the entire Boeing 767 and its entire load, except for one passport, suddenly landed in pieces or as a whole on impact on whatever floor of the Twin Towers it crashed into. The question here is, how on earth a floor of the Twin Tower could even carry, let's say, about 350,000 pounds of a sudden weight of the crashed or impacted Boeing 767 after its impact and explosion? For your information, the height of the Boeing 767 with its undercarriage retracted as in the flight position is about 4 floors high. Note, some websites are wrongfully showing that the Boeing 767 entered one floor of the Twin Towers, whereas the diameter of the engine of the Boeing 767 alone is about 9 feet.